Hello everyone, friends. A fresh review of Bitcoin. Well, the weekend was eventful for us, as I think many already know. In fact, Pavel Durov went straight from Paris to his Dubai homeland. Accordingly, against this backdrop, naturally, he put on quite a performance for us. Today we will discuss how this might affect TON in the longer term. What will happen to it? Is it possible, I don't know, to buy it back again, as you remember? I am quite a large holder of TON, so today I will share my thoughts. We'll also take a look at Bitcoin, which has stalled a bit at the $83,000 mark. Actually, there is a feeling that some upward movement might continue. Whether this is true or not, we will discuss today. Plus, I have prepared some interesting material for you on the topic of Sailor and MicroStrategy, which has now become strategy. As it turned out, I was mistaken for a long time, or rather, I didn't fully understand how MicroStrategy actually works. Today, I'll share an interesting fact with you for a more comprehensive understanding of the market. Because Sailor, in fact, he holds more than 5% of the entire Bitcoin supply. He is actually a very important player at the moment. And moving on to the chart, make sure to like this video. My dear friends, I strongly recommend subscribing to my Telegram channel so you don't miss any important information or updates. Join in, subscribe, the link is right below the video, to my Telegram channel, Falcon Investor. But now, let's actually get down to business. So let's start with Bitcoin, because everything here is quite clear. In my opinion, for now, it's clear in my worldview. So briefly and to the point, here's what's happening. We have defended the level, slightly removed liquidity below this low, and are bouncing upwards. If you look at the 4-hour time frame, it seems like some kind of upward structure is forming. Please take a look, it's a structure that can be called upward. We have several key points here. Firstly, above us awaits a huge, quite large, voluminous resistance zone that will hinder us. It is located right at $86,000. This is the first key point. The second point to pay attention to is that we have fallen below the 200-day moving average. Overall, if you look at the history, we kind of have two scenarios here. Scenario number one is when we just dipped below it, lingered for a few days, and then bounced back. The other scenario is if we go below it, then it can be a very long, difficult time, and it's challenging to break back above it. For me, the 200-day moving average is a very important psychological marker because it is an average indicator of what is happening in the market overall. And so now we have essentially approached such a crucial zone for Bitcoin because in order to move forward, we need to return. I remind you, here we had the trend break level. Here is the 200-day moving average. It will be quite difficult to pass through this zone. For me, the priority is still downwards. Here, meaning we have a descending structure, but globally, we have essentially fallen out of this structure. Right now, we are trading like this and can easily step into this range. Therefore, I still keep this scenario in mind for now. I'm not getting too hopeful here because it's just some kind of rebound. Well, a rebound. The market doesn't fall or rise in one direction like a stick. It always provides some pullbacks, rebounds. Therefore, talking about further longs is only possible in case of consolidation, like above the $86,000 zone with the formation of trading. So this is probably such a key moment. Globally, overall, it wouldn't be bad to go down from this trading range. Down, touch the $70,000 to $73,000 zone, open good positions here and see some continuation of the bullish cycle. It's not a fact that it will happen, but at least those are my expectations. I keep this scenario in mind regarding it accordingly. And I am building my positions at key levels where more positions can be opened. Below the zone, precisely this, $78,500 is a long zone for us. Below that is the $74,000 zone. These are the two nearest long levels from below. Accordingly, here you can look at long positions, and accordingly, in the $74,000 zone, long positions. Above, it's only consolidation above $86,000 and specific trading to make it clear that the level is broken, consolidated on daily candles, and we are going higher. This is regarding Bitcoin. Plus, I would also look at the pair here. Definitely the S&P 500, because look, the S&P 500, on one hand, it has reached an important support level. This zone is at $1,000. On the other hand, it has also fallen below the 200-day moving average. Let's open the chart together like this and take a look. Regarding the S&P 500, an interesting point is that if the S&P 500 suddenly goes below the 200-day moving average, then as a rule, it either stays there for a very long time or it must return almost immediately. If it lingers, then we continue trading below the 200-day moving average for quite a long time. Therefore, in general, it will become very clear soon, in my opinion. If we quickly return now in the next, couple of days, and we get a candle like this, then overall it's okay. If we trade here, for example, moving like this, like this, like this, then that's also fine. Overall, the scenario of a hike to 5100 with a not very fast exit, it fits quite well. From there, so we will be observing, but overall, I would also look at the S&P 500. It seems quite relevant to me right now. That's all for Bitcoin. Now let's move on to alts and MicroStrategy. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Write in the comments. Before we move on, guys, a small traditional reminder. If you are trading, always trade on a quality exchange. For me, Bybit has been a reliable partner for many years. Therefore, if you don't have an account, I strongly recommend registering and giving it a try. Using my link, my promo code under this video, you get the most favorable commission tier and up to $30,000 in bonuses on your first deposit. Jump in using the link below and give it a try. Let's move on then to the altcoins. First, let's look at the tone. So, tone has made a decent rebound. I want to take a look at the bigger picture here. TON is naturally criticized. They say that TON is a project that in fact fell by, well, it was minus 70%, now it's 58%. Yes, that some unclear project has fallen significantly. On the other hand, if we look at the entire market and the altcoin market, they are all doing well. As I absolutely never stop repeating, our main performer Pepe, which in fact gave a huge number of multiples in this cycle, fell to its low by 82% and to the current level, it's 75%, yes. Accordingly, when we talk about such projects, that everything in general regarding altcoins, it just plummets into the abyss. But nevertheless, we do see some rebounds. So look, a few key points regarding the tone. I wouldn't get my hopes up about Pavel Durov returning to Dubai. Firstly, as it were, yes, the news hook has already been exhausted, please. I think the next news hook will be when they say, that's it, the case is closed, and we'll see another spike. Right now, locally, we have a large resistance zone right here at the level of dollars are located. It acts as resistance accordingly. There you go. It holds. If we consolidate above this zone right here where we are trading, then our next target will be around $5. So essentially, these are the key scenarios. Therefore, you can now look for longs from the zone or consolidation above. Otherwise, I think the news. It's certainly pleasant. It's great that events are unfolding like this at the moment. It doesn't change anything drastically. And to be honest, there was definitely a moment when actually against the backdrop of Durov's arrest, and it turns out it was, well, this, I think it was, right? I think this was exactly it. Durov's arrest, but the subsequent decline, it's not because of that, it's because the entire market is falling because essentially altcoins are performing very poorly. Therefore, I wouldn't think that the news of Pavel Durov's release will play out. Torn back to $7, $8, or even $10 as much as we'd like, but it's not certain. I think that with the growth of all altcoins and Bitcoin above $100,000, we can easily see such prices again. Right now, locally, I wouldn't bet on it. For me, it's just news. It's already played out here. So that's how I see it. Whether it's clear or unclear to anyone. Guys, be sure to write your opinion in the comments if there's something you agree with. So, I'm giving you more food for thought. I won't elaborate on it for long. Actually, it needs to be read, but it's a very interesting story. So, I was sent an article not long ago about MicroStrategy. So, look, I always thought about how MicroStrategy works. MicroStrategy operates as follows. They issue certain bonds, and under these bonds, they receive money, exchange it, and with that money, they buy Bitcoin. In fact, as it turns out, Saylor is a much smarter guy, and literally what they do. They essentially use a different scheme. They use their shares, and accordingly, the premium on the share, they exchange it for Bitcoin. I won't describe it technically right now, to be honest. I haven't fully grasped the details. I myself am still figuring it out, but I will share some interesting material. If you want, you can read it too. But the key thing is, I used to think that they had these loans and that there was some sort of price, so to speak, for liquidation below which they would have to conditionally repay their loans. But it turned out not to be the case, and so I will read you the main summary, the main conclusion of how the strategy works. For some of you, this might also be very interesting. So, listen. Thus, the concept of buying at a high price is completely irrelevant. If Saylor buys BTC at a high average price, it also means that he just sold MicroStrategy shares at a similarly high average price. You understand, right? That is, when the shares rise, he conditionally exchanges them for BTC and buys, as it were, exchanging the high price of shares for the high price of Bitcoin. Therefore, buying BTC at a low price in this situation means buying BTC when the MicroStrategy to BTC ratio is high, while the BTC USDT price is practically irrelevant. What does this tell us? This explains to us why Saylor does not try to buy BTC during dips. Because buying BTC during dips means selling MicroStrategy during dips. That is, dumping his own shares into the market accordingly to create. This desire to buy BTC cheaper means he will sell his shares, creating pressure on the market. That's why we always see that when BTC hits a new all-time high, MicroStrategy buys Bitcoin again. Imagine that. And accordingly, look further. The current debt of MicroStrategy is in the billions. And at the time of writing, they hold BTC worth 46 billion. Note that given the nature of the debt, mostly convertible, a large part of this debt will simply be converted into equity. Therefore, they won't even have to repay the debt. The majority of this debt is much higher, the conversion price of the convertible bonds. Now, it's interesting. Just imagine. Let's assume that they do have to repay the debt in billions of dollars, and from 46. This means they have a leverage of less than 16%. This means, given the current prices, that the price of BTC would have to fall to $15,000. And it doesn't have to fall now. It has to fall there and stay in that range. The second year, which, as you understand, is almost impossible, and that debt will be distributed. So imagine, in order to take down MicroStrategy, problems would already need to arise with BTC at 15,000 and staying there from 28 to 32 years. It would just have to lie there without rising, then they would really have problems. And therefore, essentially, MicroStrategy doesn't have a liquidation price, and they are not chasing a low purchase price for BTC. Everything they do, they utilize. The multiplier of their shares at highs, converting them into BTC and increasing the overall BTC supply without creating any risks. What I'm getting at is, for those who want to delve deeper into this, you can read up on it. But overall, this tells us that Michael Saylor is a damn genius, just a damn genius. And this scheme is so elegant and beautiful that perhaps some nuances might arise later, but overall it looks like an indestructible cruiser designed simply to generate BTC volume and increase it for the long term with virtually no risks. Imagine that. Here I am. I'll post the details in the Telegram channel a bit later. For those who are interested, take a look. But simply, Michael Saylor is a figure for me that many look up to. And often in articles, we've seen that Saylor's liquidation price is $46,000. In reality, this is not a liquidation price at all. It was just the average purchase price in their case. And now it is much higher, which doesn't matter at all. Their purchase price, I believe, is now $60,000, $70,000 on average. And if Bitcoin drops to that level, it will not affect the stability of MicroStrategy in any way. Where were we, and why didn't we do the same? Question? Question. Agreed. Ahem. Choked with excitement. That's all, my dear ones. Everything you need to know for today to maximize your profit in the market. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss any episodes. And of course, every comment is very important to me. So don't be lazy. Go under the video, hit the like button, and share your opinion in the comments. And great profit to you. Until next time.